Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to create a ASP.NET Core MVC web application, and it's going to be a fully CRUD application, which means that you are going to be able to create new records, read existing records, update and delete existing records. So it's going to show you the full life cycle of data and how to use it in a MVC core web application. So we're going to start from scratch, basically starting with the database design, and we're going to have, in this example, two entities. It's going to be employees and managers, just to keep it practical and simple in this example. So it's going to be a one-to-many relationship, which can be a little bit tricky to implement on the front end in a web application if you don't have the necessary experience. So it's going to be basically for beginners, but it's going to involve some more advanced features as well, linking the relationship in the front end, the one-to-many, and getting for instance, drop-down lists to work and to link the data together. So yeah, we're doing this in the .NET Core as opposed to the normal or the classic standard .NET framework. So the big difference between the two is, of course, that it comes down to requirements. So if you require your application to be written in .NET C#, for instance, but it needs to be able to run in a Windows Server environment or a Mac OS or a Linux environment, you definitely need to code it in ASP.NET Core, because it's cross-platform enabled. So if you don't require cross-platform capabilities, then I'd rather suggest that you just stick to the classic .NET framework. So yeah, so the goal of this video is to show you how to do an ASP.NET Core web app using MVC, and how to get it how to get the one-to-many relationship going on the front end.
Okay, so we go to File, New, Project, and here we're going to select ASP.NET Core Web Application, and this you will find on the left hand side under Visual C# Web, and there you go, ASP.NET Core Web App, as opposed to the .NET Framework. Okay, so this is especially important to select when you want to have your application be able to install and run on a web server that uses either Microsoft Windows, Mac OS or Linux environment. So this is for cross-platform compatibility. Okay, so then the name, let's give the project a nice name. I'm just going to call it say ASP.NET Core company, and you can use the checkbox here, create directory for solution. Okay, so that it can actually create a folder for you on your hard drive. Go OK. And then it comes up with this dialog box. So important here, you need to select on the left hand side .NET Core and not .NET Framework, so we're going to go fully .NET Core as the runtime, and then ASP.NET Core 2.0, which is the latest version of .NET Core for ASP.NET. And the kind of application you'll see, there's various types that you can select here, and we're specifically going to go with Web Application Model View Controller. So this is MVC. And actually for web application in ASP.NET Core on the .NET Core runtime, it's only available. You don't have ASPX web form, so you have the model view controller, which you kind of forced to use this. So we're going to go with that, and then click on the Change Authentication button here, and we're going to go with individual user account. And on this drop down, you have to select the store user account in app. We're not going to use connect to an existing user store or in the cloud. We're just going to have it inside our app, which means it's going to create a local database to our application, which is going to use to store the user accounts for your application. So click on OK, and once again click on OK here, and then Microsoft Visual Studio will take a few seconds to set up your solution. Okay, so let's go and click on View, Solution Explorer. By default, Visual Studio 2017, by default it should hide the Solution Explorer so that it increases the performance, so that it doesn't take as long to start up. Okay, so here we have the Solution Explorer with the framework for our application. And what we're gonna let me just give you a short tour of all the folders and the structure that we see here. So first off, we have we have a solution. Then we have this project. You can have multiple projects, of course, in your solution. We have of course, the ASP.NET MVC web application project, and then we have connected services here. We have dependencies which you use to add your references and libraries, third-party APIs and things you will connect to, as well as NuGet packages, that kind of thing. And then we have a section for properties. Okay, we let's just open this .json file, and you can see what's inside there. Okay, this is internal settings that is stored here. It will show you also the URL that your application will run in. When you start, when you click on IIS Express here, it will fire up IIS Express on your machine, which is a mini version of Internet Information Services, and it will run it on your localhost on this port number that you see over there. That's something interesting. Okay, so let's close this one for now. Okay, then you have here www.root. Okay, this is where your application store the CSS, style sheets, images, JavaScript libraries, and so on. And then you have controllers. So remember, we're doing an MVC app here, so it's based on the model, view, and controllers design for architecture. So you have controllers, which is your server-side C# code that will run in these files. Then we have a data folder which stores the database context, your database abstraction layer. Okay, we have extensions here. It's beyond the scope of this exercise. We have models, which is basically an abstraction of your data entity or your data tables in your database. We have a services folder. Okay, if we're having any developing any services. We have a views folder, which is the CS HTML files. And there's already a couple of default ones here. So we're going to go into each of these sections and create our code here. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to click on IIS Express to run this application. And I'm going to show you how to get the authentication going. So we wait for a few seconds just to fire up our engine and our browser. Okay, so the application is started up in our browser. So this is all default stuff that's automatically created for you by Visual Studio and by this specific application template. We have at home, about, and a contact page. We're going to leave all of this as this for now, and we're going to add onto it. We're going to add a couple of menu items here. As you can see at the moment, you can click just about everywhere. There's no authorization or security. So let's make a change to that quickly, and we go to register. to register a user account for this application of us. And just put in an email address here. It can be a real email address or a fake one. That's just for testing. And put in a nice strong password. And click on register. And if all goes well, if all of the automatic code generation worked, we should be able to register this new user and start to log in and put in some authentication, authorization into our application. Okay, so let's see what happened here. So this is quite common for the first time if you starting up your application. We have a database operation failed, and they say here we can apply existing migrations for the application DB context to resolve this issue. So let's just click on here, apply migrations. And this is a very common thing with auto-generated code from Microsoft. Sometimes it doesn't, for some reason, it just times out the operation. It just hits a snag somewhere. So let's just see if we can refresh it. Let's say try refreshing the page. Okay, there we go. So basically we are logged in. We have an account here. So let's click on log out again. Close the application and stop our project from running. Okay, so I want you to go to controllers and then double click on the home controller, scroll a little bit down and say here on the public action result about. Put in your square bracket, authorize. Okay, and just click on the light bulb there. It probably needs to add to reference a library using Microsoft ASP.NET Core.authorization. Import that namespace. Okay, and now it recognizes it. Let's click on run again. And basically what this does is, this is the only step you need to take to basically restrict an anonymous user from accessing a certain section of your application. Is that you just apply the authorized attribute here above the action result, and that should basically force the anonymous user to log in, to have an account to log in, and then he will be allowed to access this specific section in your application. Okay, so there we go. So now if we click on about, it should take us to a login screen, which is exactly what it does. And let's just say if we can log in with our account that we created there. Type in the password, click on login, and then it should redirect us to the about screen, which we just clicked on a moment ago, after having authenticated us. Okay, and there we go. Great, let's log out again, close, stop the application from running. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we are going to go to our database, and we're going to create a new database here quickly. So open up your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Click on right click on databases, new database, and we're quickly going to create a new database. Okay, so give it a name. Let's say my company. Click on OK. And that's just going to create an empty database for you. Okay, there we go. Double click and expand my company database. Right click on tables and say new table. Okay, so this is going to be our employee table. So give it an employee ID as a primary key. Make it a data type int. Don't allow nulls. So we're going to force the user, well in this case it's going to be auto-generated. We're going to force it to have a value. Okay, my management studio is just hanging a little bit. Okay, so select this column, and here on your left hand side, click on the set primary key icon. Click there, it makes it the primary key, which means that this is going to be a unique key in your table. And yeah, around at the bottom, the properties of this column. Expand the identity specification. Click on double click it, and it will change to yes. To have an identity increment of 1. So it will start at 1, start at 1, yes, and increments from there. Okay, so let's add a first name column, make it in varchar, don't allow nulls, last name, make it in varchar as well, don't allow nulls, and let's give it a city. And last one, manager ID. Now this is going to be the manager or the line manager um, for the employee. Okay, let's click on save, and we're going to call this employee table name. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and create another table. Manager ID, make it an int. Primary key, and the manager is going to have a first name, last name, and let's give the manager a department. Okay, great. And also don't forget to make the primary key an auto-incremented value. Just expand identity specification, make it yes. Click on save and type in the name for the table. Okay, great. So let's just click on tables, refresh, and let's put in some data. Start with the manager. So this is now obviously a one-to-many relationship between managers and employees. So the manager can have many employees working for him. Okay, so since the manager ID is an auto-incremented field, we're just going to give it a value. So let's give here Bob Williams, and he's in the IT department. Let's put in another person here. Okay, and he's going to be in the retail department. Let's put in a third manager here. Okay, and he's going to be in sales. Okay, so now basically we have 1, 2, 3 managers there. Right click on the employee table and let's add some employees. Okay. Okay, let's say he's got manager ID 1. So that means Bob Williams is his manager. Okay, let's put in another employee here. Okay, now this employee has got manager ID 2, which is Sarah Salmon. And let's add another one here. Say this guy works in Bangkok and his manager is ID 3. Okay, let's add another one. Okay, this one has also manager number 1, and it's adding another one. Okay, great. So let's go back to our application. Okay, so next step is to add our go to the models folder, and you're going to right click here, click on add class. Okay, and give this class a name employee. Check that the spelling is right. Click on add. And this is going to be now obviously our class entity or our application entity representing our database entity. So you're going to have exactly the same properties in this class corresponding to the columns in your table. So you're going to have your public property type int employee ID. Okay, and we're going to have a string first name. Last name. Okay, you're going to have city. And the last one is obviously the manager ID. Okay, so this is indicating your one-to-many relationship. Okay, let's save that one. Okay, next we're going to go and create another class here in the models folder. And you're going to call it, obviously, manager. And the same thing applies here. So Let's just go here and copy that, save us some time. Manager ID, first name, last name, department. And now this is the interesting one you're going to add here. This property is going to be a collection of type employee. Let's call it team. I'm going to explain to you now why we do that. Okay, so it's going to be a collection of type employee. So this is to indicate the one-to-many relationship. So the manager can have many employees. Okay, so it needs to be a collection to have to contain many items, and we call it team. This is the manager's team working for him, and that's why we have that. Okay, great stuff. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the controllers folder, right click there, select add new scaffolded item, and this is going to auto generate a lot of code for us, so we don't have to manually go and type it out. You're going to select your MVC controller with views using entity framework. Okay, so make sure to select this item, click on add, and then we wait a little while for Visual Studio to actually go and auto-generate a lot of code for us. In the model class, we're going to select your okay, so your employee. Make sure you select the employee class that you just created a few moments ago. And here for the data context class, we can manually go and code it, but I'm not really looking forward to manually coding that. So let's just click on the plus button here, and it should then create a data context class which basically links this this entity to our database object. Okay, here you're going to put in a name. Here where it's highlighting this section. Okay, let's put in the employee context. Click on add, and click on add again. And it takes a while to do the scaffolding and create a bunch of code for us. Okay, and here you're going to select yes to all, because it's basically gone and altered a few of our code files. And what you should see here is it's created in the controllers. It's created a file called employeescontroller.cs. Okay, and this is all the auto-generated code, and basically we're going to modify some of this code to give the application some more advanced features. Okay, but for now we leave the basic code as it is here, and we go to the controllers folder again, and we're going to right click once again and click on add new scaffolded item, because we also need to do it for the manager. So once again, select your MVC controller with views using entity framework, click on add. Okay, in the model class, select the manager one, the manager class that we created, and click on the plus to create another data context class for us, and just call it manager context. Click on add again, and just give it a few moments to scaffold all of that code for us. Okay, once again you can click on yes to all, just to give it permission to update your code files, and it's actually gone and added a manager's controller as well. We're going to leave the defaults for now as it is, and what we're going to do is I want you to go into your Solution Explorer and go all the way down to this file appsettings.json and open that. And here you will see the connection string to your database, and it's gone and modified that, and it's added a couple of connection strings here for you. So we need to make sure that it's pointing to the correct database. Okay, so basically we're going to look at the one that says employee context and manager context. Okay, those respectively point to the manager and the employee entities. Okay, so what we need to do is you need to put in your actual SQL Server name here. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, the database name here is going to be the name of the database that we've gone and created, which is my company. Okay, like that. Trusted connection true because it's using our Windows authentication. If you have a SA system administrator password and username, you need to put it in here. Okay, then. So we have employee context and manager context. It needs to be exactly the same. So let's just copy this so that they point to the same databases. Okay, right, let's save it right there. So I want you to go then to the data folder, expand your data folder, and click on the employee context. Just make sure that the spelling, the naming conventions are the same here. So it's looking for employee context. Okay. Sometimes it puts in the plural. You will see employees context. So employee context, this over here should correspond to in your app settings, the JSON should correspond to this name, the connection string name here, as well as the manager context one, which should be the same. Okay, there we can see this is the same. Okay, right. Next step is you're going to go to the views folder, and you're going to expand the shared folder here. Click on layout.cshtml, and this is kind of like a master page which is used by all of your views. And we're going to scroll down to the section where it creates the menu items like the home, about, and the contact pages. And we're going to add in two more items here. One for the employees, okay, so this should correspond to the name of your controller. So the controller's name is employee. Let's just scroll up again. Okay, it's called employees controller. So it's employees with an S. Okay, the action will be index. So if you open up your employees controller, you'll see it's got an index action right here. And there you will see the name is employees controller. Okay, let's copy this one and create another menu item for the managers page. Okay, managers index, the action is called index, and the text is displayed to the user in the managers. Let's save it and let's run application and see if it works. Okay, great. So it's fired up on our browser. let's see, okay, here at the top you can see the employee and the managers, the two extra items, so let's click on that. Okay, we click on employee, and you can see the scaffolding has gone and beautifully created the CRUD here for us, so we can see, we can read the existing data, we can click on edit, we can actually edit the record here, let's just edit it, click on save, and you'll see that it actually updated the record here. We can click on details, and if we go to the details and show us the detail, click on backlist, we can create a new employee, type in some dummy data here, give it a manager ID, create, and it'll actually go and create that record for us. Let's see if the delete works. Click on delete, and it asks you, are you sure you want to delete this? Click on delete, and we'll actually delete it. So same on managers, click on managers, usually the first time you run the application, you click on links, it might take a while depending on the speed of your computer, and sometimes it crashes. Just click on the refresh there. Okay, just click on back again. Click on managers. Okay, there's some kind of an issue here. Let's go and see. Maybe the connection string is not correct, so let's just close it. Minimize. Go to the app settings.json file and just double check here to see if okay, it's got the exact same connection string, so that should be fine. Manager context, manager controller. Okay, it has here manager context, so it should be working. Let's just run it again. Maybe we are a second time lucky, who knows. Okay, so the issue is here is a typo. My connection string. Let's just stop the app quickly. Okay, save it and run it again. Just was this little typo, so that managed to completely confuse me. Okay, so let's see if it works now. If we click on managers, it goes to the managers page. Okay, great, and it's also got the exact same CRUD abilities here, so you can create, edit, view the details and delete. So let's go and view the details of this first record. So now what we want to do next is we want to show below here in this space, we want to show the team members or the employees working under this manager. So we're going to add that kind of functionality. As well as if you go to employee and you go into the click on details of a record, you don't want to see the manager ID, you want to see maybe the manager's name or his first or last name. Okay, and when you go on to edit or create, you want to be able to select not the manager ID put in here, but you want to select maybe from a drop-down list where the names of the managers can come up, and that'll make your application a little bit more advanced and more user-friendly. So we're going to look at doing that next. Okay, so for now let's close the application in our browser and stop the application. And now the next step is to go into the employees controller and find the details action result where we pass in
an ID parameter. And what we're gonna need to do here is to modify this this code here that is auto-generated to return the specific employee we want to view. So we are gonna on this line just below the single or default async, we're gonna add some code here that's going to return for us the name of the manager that we want to for this specific employee. We don't want to see the manager ID. As it doesn't have any meaning for us really. It's not very user friendly, so we're going to change it to actually display for us the name of the manager for this employee. So we're going to add a little bit of code here, and what we're going to use is something similar to a session or global variable, and it's called view data in MVC. And use it like this: view data square brackets. And then any name we want to give it, so we're going to give it name line manager. Okay, and then we're going to give it the value, and we're going to use some link query here, link query language, which is very similar to SQL language, where you can do queries and have where clauses and things like this. So we're going to say okay, from manager, and we need to use our database context object here. And before we can do that, now we want to see the manager inside. We want to see the manager, but not the employee object. So let's go to our manager controller. Okay, so this is what I mean. So we want to access the DBContext class and go dot manager, but it's not currently there. We only have, of course, employee. And the reason for this is if we go, let's go to the definition of our employee context. Okay, this is this one here. So in your data, let me just show you in which folder. So in your data folder, you have employee context and manager context. So employee context currently only has a reference to the employee table in your database. So we also want to add here then, of course, just to make it a little bit more convenient. Let's add another DB set here, which is going to refer to the employee table, the manager table in our database. Okay, dot models dot manager, like this. Okay. Okay, this should do it. So now we can go back to the employees controller, and here it should come up manager. It's probably not refreshing. It's messed up. The autocomplete didn't work. Okay, just like that, manager. There we go. Save. Okay, there we go. So now we get access to the manager. So we're going to say from manager in underscore context.manager. We're going to add a where clause. We want to select then if you think about it, we want to select, like, think about in terms of a SQL query, you would write where the manager ID is equal to the employee manager ID, the foreign key that references. So we're going to say where manager ID equals to the employee instance manager ID. So where the foreign key corresponds to the primary key value in the manager table. And we're going to say, okay, so select that record for us. We want to see the first name let's just close the brackets here, otherwise the autocomplete is not going to work that well. Let's put it in brackets like this. Okay, and let's see if it comes up. The first name not coming up in the autocomplete for some reason. Okay, list, and since it's a query, it's going to return a list, so we want to get the first instance, the first or default value there. Sorry, we need two equals here, equal, and that should work. Let's just see if this line compiles. Yes, and that's it. So this is basically what you need, and this will return a specific manager, the first name specifically. You can, if you want to return the last name, you can put in the last name as well. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so this is it for the only code we need at this stage in the employees controller. And then next we will go on to the view. We need to update the code in the view as well. Okay, so we are going to go to the details view specifically. So in your Solution Explorer, scroll down to the views, and then open up the under employees, the details view, details.cshtml. Okay, and this is this one. So we're going to remove the manager ID. We don't want to see the manager ID in this case. So what we're going to do is delete this line here and just say manager, and this over here. Now here we're going to say that view data that we just created in this employees controller. I'm going to copy that, and we're going to paste it in here. And let's just say string. Okay, let's save that and give it a go and see what it looks like. Okay, so our application is open in the browser. So let's click on employee on our top menu here, and let's see if it actually returns the surname of our manager. So let's select any record here, say the second one, click edit. Sorry, not edit, mistaken, just click on details. We just want to view the details, we don't want to edit. And here we go, so it's no longer displaying the manager ID, it's now displaying the actual surname of the manager. Okay, this is a bit more user friendly. So let's close it again. And now the next thing what we want to do is to create that. So on our create screen, when you create a new employee, as well as when you're updating an existing one, we don't want to type in the manager ID as well. That's not very user friendly. We want to select the specific manager from a drop down list. So let's go to our employees controller once again, and let's look for the create action result. So here we go. Here with the get one, create. Okay, and here we're going to add some code. So once again, we're going to use something similar to the view data to the global session value. We're going to use what is called a view bag. And this is dynamic, so you can say view bag dot anything you want to call it. It's dynamically created. Let's do this manager list. We call it manager list equals, and we're going to once again use the context DBContext dot manager dot to list. And the reason we use to list is because we want to have a whole list, the list of managers, the entire list in our database. We want to return that and put that in a drop down or a combo box. Okay, so you need this line of code. Now this will put in the viewbag.manager list. It will contain the list of managers in your database. Next step is we go to the create view, and this is in your views folder, employees create. Okay, and once again here we see manager ID. We don't want to see manager ID, so we're gonna edit this code. So let's modify it to instead of using just a label manager ID, we're gonna use we want to put there a drop down list. And the way we do it is we change this label here into a select. Okay, select ASB4. Okay, it's still fine, manager ID. This means it's gonna save manager ID. So when the record gets created, it's still gonna save the value of manager ID, because that we want to store as a foreign key in our table. Okay, and here after it says form control. Now here we're going to say ASP items, as you can see here. We can say equal, and we need the at symbol here because we are going to write the actual code here. Open bracket, new select list. It comes up in the autocomplete IntelliSense, and select list, and then we're going to open another bracket here. We're going to say view bag dot, and that view bag we just created in the employees controller, which is called manager list. Let's just copy that, paste it here. Okay, there we go, managers list. And we need to specify some arguments. So we need to specify the text we're going to display in this drop-down list and the value that it needs to save. So we want to display not manager ID but first name. Okay, but now the first argument here is the value that we want to save, and it is called manager ID, the manager ID column. Okay, and then the display value is of course first name. We want to display, say, the first name, or let's make it the last name. Okay, like that. Close the bracket. Okay, and just get the line of code here compiling, and that looks fine. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So we change the label into a select ASP4. Let me just highlight this line, and there you go. That is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and sorry, before we run this, we want to also copy this code over here, and also put it into the edit. So you go to Solution Explorer, Views, Employees, Edit, CSHML. Because we also want it in the edit page, which is exactly the same code. So we also put it here. Okay, let's save it. And let's, before we run it, let's just go back to the employees controller. Let's just copy this code here on the create action result, and we also put it into the edit. Just scroll down into the edit action result. Sorry, not in the post, but in the get. Okay, so let's run it. Let's see if it actually works. Okay, so now let's click again on employee. Okay, so now let's go and create a new one. And we put in a first name, last name, city. And now you will see here there's a drop-down list instead of a just a blank field where you type in the ID. And you can select the last name from a drop-down list, which is much more user-friendly. So let's say we select Daniel, we click create, and there we go. This is the record that's just been created. If you go edit, the same will apply. You will also have a drop-down list which you can go and edit. Okay, isn't that more user-friendly than just having an ID? Okay, great. So that's that mission accomplished. Next, what we want to do is so when you are on the manager's page and you want to view the specific employees or the team members working under that manager, you want to see them also. So if you go into the details screen of a manager, you want to see a list of people working under him. So how are we going to do that? So this is how we go about. So the first thing is to okay, go to your manager's controller. And we're going to so we need to think about this. So we want to go into the details section. So we need to look for the details action result, which is over here. Okay, and we pass in the specific ID for this manager that you're viewing, and we need to modify this generated code. So we're gonna put it right on this line and say we want to include, we do some link syntax here. We want to include the team. Okay, just like that. So now it will include in this whole in this link query, it will include the employees that are linked by the primary key with the foreign key reference. Okay, so let's save that. That's all code we need on the server side on the manager's controller, and then we are going to go to Solution Explorer, Views, Managers, and you're going to go to Details. So right here we want to, on the details page, we want to include those team members. Okay, so this is quite a bit of code that you have to type out. Let me just grab it there. So basically what you're doing here is you're adding another DT tag here, and the same as for the others, you're going to say display name for model.team. And remember, team is part of our class, our manager's class. So if you scroll up in your Solution Explorer, models, what we created here, the manager, remember there is a collection, a team collection of type employee. Okay, this is the whole list of team members or employees attached to that manager. So that is where we get that from. Then we just create a table here, HTML table, and we have a for each loop. For each bar item in model.team, so it's going to loop through this, and you will create a cell in that table for each record and a row for each record. And you're just grabbing the item.first name and last name. We want to see the first and last names, okay, for those employees. Okay, so let's save it and run it and see what happens. Okay, great. So click on managers and go on to the details of any of these people, any of our managers, and here we go. It will display the team members or the employees working for that manager. And this is as simple as that. Check out another one. There you go. Okay, great. So the last thing we want to do is now, if we want to add some authorization, so that no unauthorized or anonymous users can access certain parts of the application. We want to include employee and managers as well. So let's log out. Okay, close it. And we go into our controllers. So if you can remember, the only thing we need to add here is the authorize attribute. And here it says the indexed action result, just add this in brackets authorize over there, as well as in the manager's controller, just add above the index the authorize here. Let's just double check and see if that works. So let's click on managers, for instance. And now it's supposed to, since we're not logged in, it will take us to a login screen, which is fine. Click on login, and now it should automatically redirect us back to the manager screen where we wanted to enter into. Okay, and there we go. So we authenticated. So if you, once again, if you log out, you click on employee. So anonymous users cannot get in here unless they have a user and password. So let's log in, and there we are. And this is your fully fledged CRUD MVC application done in ASP.NET Core. Fully working sample, how to create, read, update, and delete records. Let's just delete this one to see if that still works. Yeah, are you sure you want to delete this? And say yes, delete. Okay, great. And we have drop down list instead of um, just the text box where you type in the ID. This is working pretty fine. So there you go. Okay, great stuff. So this is your ASP.NET Core version of an MVC app with fully CRUD operations for database operations. Yes, please subscribe to my channel if you new to my channel. Click the bell icon to get notifications for when I upload a new video. And please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video, and see you guys next time.